Before we actually like get started, the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it's, I don't know, does it need some more workshopping?
Well, this is what I'm saying. You just told me not to pull up the notion, Phoebe.
Okay, well, you don't, I thought you looked at it. Do you ever feel like you're a capitalist girl boss, or do you ever feel like you're in your capitalist girl boss era?
I think that is the question.
Okay. Hi, I'm Phoebe.
Hi, I'm Jacque.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel It?
Where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
And I don't even know. How's it going over there? What's up?
Ooh. I don't know. I was just saying, like, I just, like, don't feel like doing anything this week. I'm just like, la-di-da-da-da.
Well, it's like the weather's getting a little bit nicer, I feel, right?
Yes. And the weather's getting nicer.
And you're like,
and
ugh.
I just want to live, like, I just want to talk about things all the time and, like, lay around. Like, I don't want to do anything else.
Okay, well, this is funny for what I have to say today.
Oh, I know.
Because I agree.
Oh, I know.
I agree. And why is it that, like, yes, last week Phoebe commits to things because she's excited for them.
Mm.
And then future Phoebe has to deal with past Phoebe's commitments? That doesn't seem fair.
No.
That doesn't seem fair.
Not right. Not right.
So what's the answer?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the answer is.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
and
like,
everyone's on vacation right now. I don't know if you've seen that. Is that happening in your world? Everyone is on vacation right now. I'm furious about it. I didn't know we were going on vacation. No one told me that we were going on vacation.
No one invited you?
It's not even no one. It's just like no one told me that we could go on vacation.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No. Yeah. Totally.
Fuck you and your warm destinations.
Oh my God. So I'm gonna go to.
I can't.
Okay. What? Why?
It's because it's just going to be warm. It's like cold here still.
It's literally going to be like 70 degrees.
I don't know what that means.
Hold on. I'm looking it up. 70.
Is it like 20-something?
I think it's at like 77.
Okay. You want to know what's dumb? Fahrenheit.
25. Oh,
yeah.
Fahrenheit is gross.
That I die on.
Fahrenheit is gross. Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius.
Oh, that's nice. That's not too roasty toasty either.
No, it's going to be lovely. But everyone's about to be, I think, on like vacation here.
Right, because you have like March break and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm jealous. If I see another beach in a picture, I'm going to die. I really want to get into some water.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I just need water.
Yeah.
And then I'll be fine.
I wrote about water in my most recent Substack essay.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm. Don't know if anybody got it because I don't really understand Substack yet, but
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh my God, did you not get it? I literally think I might have sent it to like 6 people.
I've done that a couple of times.
Technology.
If you don't hit everyone, then it only sends to your page. Oh no, I did read it.
Oh, great.
No, I've seen this.
Great.
I just think it's like sometimes I go to write, like when I'm writing my Substack each week, I'll go to talk about like what I've kind of consumed in the last week or something like that. And then I go like, I have no idea what I talk about. And so usually I have to go to like my like message links, like see what I've sent you or like my other friends and stuff like that. Like what did I send the group chat this week? Because I just like, my mind is a sieve. And maybe this is why I need to go into water. Like I just can't hold all of these things in my brain at the same time.
Totally.
And I really want Gilded Age to come back. I keep thinking about it.
When
I just
is
keep
it coming
thinking back. I don't know, in like April, May, perhaps. But I just need it. That's all I have in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. What are we doing? Because it needs to come back. The Gilded Age is
I really want to go, okay, because we're talking about nice weather. I really want to go to a Renn Fair this year. I haven't been to a Renn Fair in years and years. And we're going back to France as well. And so I keep planning like all of it. And we're doing like some more countryside stuff. See, this is me. I'm such a like crazy bitch. I'm like, everyone's going on vacation. No one told me, but like, I've just been planning a big trip.
Of course. I was like, wait a second. Hold on. Aren't you like going to France in like a couple of months?
Big baby. But we're going to do some more countryside stuff. And so I keep planning like all my looks. That's like the most important thing. There's like, we have to like buy train tickets and stuff like that still. And I'm like, what dress am I wearing on said train? That's the more important question. What's the vibe? You know, what am I carrying out? And that's why I think I need Gilded Age back. Like I need proper vibes in my life.
Yeah.
This is why I need Renn fairs constantly.
I hear that.
So,
I mean, I don't really understand Renaissance fairs.
Why?
I've
What's
been
there
like
to understand?
twice. What do you mean? What is there to understand?
It's just fucking fun.
Okay, but it's not though, Phoebe. That's the thing.
Yes, it is. It's so fun.
But no, not like is it fun or not? No. Not is it fun or not, because which can be argued. In the sense of like, would you personally have a good time at this thing? People that go to Renn Festival, there are people who are like obsessed.
Yeah. And I fucked up in life and I should be on the road selling small leather goods at Renn fairs.
Fine. Small. Okay. And not even you fucked up, because you know what? That sounds like a beautiful life.
Yeah. I'm quoting the pod.
Great. Go, Phoebe. That's amazing. I'm saying like, what I find strange about it is this idea, this like escapism, maybe, which like escapism is a whole other thing, but like, I have met people who like live their life at a Renn Fest and are obsessed with history, but like aren't really actually looking at history. Like they're looking at like the
Renn Fair is like about like it's like there's fairies. That's
right.
That's the reality. It's not about history. No.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That's where it gets a little complicated for me, especially with white people, where I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm sorry, what? Like you're picking and choosing. I will
say this is maybe this is maybe not. I can see how people think that, and I'm sure that's like certain and true. However, I will say the like. It's like it intersects with like cosplaying and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And
is your cosplaying ethical? That's what I care about.
Well, and this is the thing, like people talk about this. Like I would say the majority of like creators and stuff, like, you know, costumers that I really love. Like my favorite activity on Saturday morning is watching all of the like quote unquote historical, because they're not quite historically accurate, like costume like YouTubers and stuff like that. I'll pop some of them in the show notes. They're my favorite. And like that is a huge part of the conversation, is being like, well, one of them, the majority of people that I watch are not white. And that's like a big part of the conversation. Like people do leave horrible, disgusting comments like, whatever, brown people didn't exist in this like timeline, or like just dumb, idiotic, racist shit. And like, I mean, this is true. This is true for me, and I hope this is true for most people. But like, the escapism isn't escaping a reality where racism doesn't exist. It's like or not even that. It's just like, it's not escaping a reality where brown people don't exist. Like there are brown people at the Renn Fair. There are brown fairies. You know, this was part of the Lord of the Rings TV show, which I haven't watched, was having a quote unquote backlash to that because they had like brown fairies and elves and stuff like that. And people were like, and people were mad that they're like, that's not right. And I just think it's so funny when we like start talking. It's like, obviously that's racist dumb shit, but it's just hilarious to me that you're using the guild like, of correct when there's magic being played with. Like it's so
white supremacist.
Yeah, it's so, but it's like so goofy. It's so goofy. Like it's just like, it's hard to engage with that stuff. I mean, because I mean, it's the same thing. It's like the same thing as like QAnon, like conspiracy
Yeah.
theorists. Like it's just fucking horseshit. And so I will say, in defense of Renn Fairs, I don't believe that's not the community that I participate in.
Yes.
And like, I
Yes.
don't think, and I think, you know, it sucks in any kind of thing where if you're somebody you don't feel like you can fit in there. Like,
Of
that's horrible.
course.
And I do feel like there is a lot of creators and people having, and like, I wouldn't even really call myself a part of this community. I just like watching stuff on YouTube and like their pretty costumes on Instagram and stuff. But like, I don't
Yes.
think like, I don't know. It's a very complicated situation. I mean, I would even say like Bridgerton was like a similar vibe of like people were like, you know, yay, there's brown people in Regency era stuff. Oh, it's colorblind casting. Like, you know, is this really good? Like, it's a very, I'm not going to pretend it isn't a very, like, nuanced conversation, but I do think there is the conversation. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it sucks that it has a certain look.
Yes.
It sucks, but they're fun as fuck. And I want to be a little fairy in a forest. And I want to have like a little wooden mug strapped to my belt. And I want to run around in skirts. So I want to go to a Renn Fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going. I found out, I already told you this. Would you call DC your home-ish town?
Yes, I would.
You would call it your hometown?
I would call the DMV, as we call it. DC, Maryland, Virginia, my hometown.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, they have the most Renn Fairs per capita, or however we want to call this,
sure they
long
do.
Running. So, baby, we're going.
The one that you said, like, oh my God, the best one is I've been to that one twice. Like,
I'm furious. I'm furious. So much fun.
I was dragged.
So much fun. The ones that we have here are very like, I want a little bit more. Come on, people, let's step it up.
That's just so funny that we're talking about this because my mom is currently going through her storage unit and many a treasures to be found. And when I was in high school, I was a fairy in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And we were like all different flowers. And I was like the rose flower. And she found like a pretty little drawing that my friend at the time did of all of us as like the little fairies together.
That's so cute.
And I was like, oh. Anyways.
That's so sweet. No, I just wanted to be a fairy so bad. Or a pirate.
Did you see the new trailer for the new Peter Pan?
No.
You didn't see it?
With who?
I think it's Wendy, technically. I think it's Disney. Peter Pan and Wendy, 2023, Disney. Jude Law's in it.
Wow.
Jim Gaffigan is in it.
I love Jude Law.
Yara from Blackish is in it.
All right.
I think she plays Tinkerbell.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen this. I just finished reading a really great book. Speaking of all this fantasy stuff, I just finished reading one of the best books I think I've ever read in my entire life. It's called Once and Future Witches. And it's about like 3 witch sisters. The whole thing is like the longest piece of poetry I've ever read, I think. Like it's just all beautiful prose. And it's got witches, it's got gay witches, it's got gay black witches. It is so good. Highly recommend.
It's got witches.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah, but it has every kind of witch. It also has gay trans witches. Like it's got, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like if we're going to have like brown people have always existed, gay people have always existed, trans people have always existed. What I mean. So it's like if we're going to like have these quote unquote historical fantasies or whatever the heck it is, like yes, everybody will still be there. Yeah. Like everyone will still be there. And that's the world. That's always the painting I want to paint. That's always
for sure
the thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I mean when I said they're witches.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. Well, and that's part of it too. It's like, you know, like who is magic? for what is magic, who has, you know, traditionally
Interesting.
like accessed magic and who needs it, like all of those things. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Highly
Yeah.
recommend it. Alex E. Harrow, I think that's the author's name.
Cool. This is reminding me that I still have to do notes for the last episode of the pod. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. I have to still do notes for the last episode of the pod because I've been a busy, busy gal.
I know you've been running around town.
I've been a busy gal, and I've been in this era of work.
I know. We both have.
And now this week I'm like, I'm going to ignore my responsibilities. I'm going to ignore. Last week, Jacque, who was very into being a girl boss, and now she's not.
Well, also I will say too, it's so tough when you come back from work and those things. And like, you know, when you are freelancing, when you are self-employed, like it is so hard to not just jump back on that machine. I mean, I get the same way. I mean, it's like, my reaction right now is like, oh, we're so busy. How do I get on an airplane somewhere? Like, I'm so busy. How do I go to a day spot? Like, it's just, and I've been trying to finish my taxes before I like book or plan for anything, because one, it's like, just Phoebe, chill for a second. Like, let's not avoid the very like deadline based task that is in front of you. So bad. And then like, you know, maybe it's like a little bit reward or something like that. But
yeah,
it's just like, or like, do I even really want to go on vacation, or do I just not want to do my taxes?
These are the things. Yes.
That's the question. So anyway, I know we've just like, you've been busy. The world's
We've been busy.
But then also, you know, at the same time, like whenever I just like refuse to answer the question.
No, I hate that.
With busy, like always.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Me too. I would much rather be like, I'm unwell.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I'm busy.
It's like, I don't know. It's just like, what if we were to say busy? I don't know. It's just like a way to like assign value to yourself, like very quickly in conversation. And like, what's a way that I can just like be a human being and not be like quote unquote good for like a minute? What if I would just like,
Yeah.
Did you want to
I think not being good in that question is saying you're good. Like, I think the response is, I'm great. The response is, I love my life. The response is, I'm so happy right now.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because what people want, what we all want from each other, is to hear how miserable everyone is.
Oh, yeah.
Because then we're like more okay with ourselves. And
well, but only a certain amount of miserable, right? Because like you don't want to answer the question, how are you, with
no, I don't. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Because now you're a traitor in the same way. You've broken the social contract. I have a friend that does that. I might have talked about this in the pod before, but I have a friend who answers the question like, how are you, with like real creepy honest truth. And like, I'm like, stop. Like, it makes me so uncomfortable when she does it. I'm like, oh my God. No, stop.
I also think like, how amazing would our communication be if we all just like used sounds to talk to each other? Ugh. Yes. Like if someone was like, how are you, Jacqueline? And I was like, or something. Like, what does that communicate to you? Exactly, right? Or like, if I'm like, Phoebe, how are you doing? I don't know. And you give some kind of like, like, I don't know. I mean,
it's very like, high school drama class of you. It's very sound poetry of you.
It's very sound poetry. I don't know. I just like, language is not enough is what I feel.
That's really interesting. Actually, it's funny. I remember having a professor in university, one of my creative writing professors. Well, we would always do like a sound poetry moment, but she would get us to like practice we would like get, or it would be like a warm up. So she would like turn the lights off in the classroom and just have like whatever little daylight window come through, organize us into people. So it's like we couldn't really see each other's faces like doing anything. So it's like we couldn't be embarrassed kind of. And we would like warm up with like 10 minutes of like sound poetry. We'd be given like a thing or whatever. And it was so much fucking fun because like
oh my God, I
the
love
people that were like the most nervous or like the most like, I don't want to do this, like this is embarrassing or whatever, like tore loose on it, like with the fucking craziest once they got into it. I'm like, ooh, you have something hidden in there.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I love that.
Maybe we just need more sound poetry. I love that. More beat poets.
Just like more like social, exactly, like more social breaking of the social contract, right? Like more like I don't know, more weirdness.
Yeah. Well, this is fun because I think this will bring us to a good spot. Good segue, I feel. Are you bored of me
today? No, I don't. This is what I'm saying when I'm like, I am so insane. Like,
no, well, I know you're insane.
I'm like, I'm tired. And then I'm like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm up and I'm doing the dishes and I'm putting the laundry away. And Jacque and I went out for pancakes this morning. Like that was my, this is what I've done. And now I'm like complaining that I'm tired. I know. I was like, I need to have an impromptu moment where I remember I'm a human being. Can we like go get pancake? Like, you know what I mean? Like, which is hard. That's a big ask, you know?
Yeah.
But I was like,
what do you mean you want spontaneity?
Yes. And then I'm like, now I'm like yawning and I'm like, I'm so tired all the time. I don't know.
Okay, but like, are you tired or are you just a person?
Right. I can yawn.
You can yawn and like you can be tired and like get things done. Okay, this is great. So, this is funny. I wrote this question, or I was writing this episode last week when I was in my like capital girl boss era, and like now I'm a sleepy girl, and like no,
yeah.
And so my question this week is: do you ever feel like you're a capitalist girl boss?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, yes, I am. That was the white feminism I was sold. and okay, so I bring this question up because it's like it is a real, and I say this, okay, listener, I'm being a hilarious girl. We're going to talk about all of the ways in which we are not, and also we are, and also maybe the girl boss in me sees the girl boss in you.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like, and I was thinking about this because, okay, well, so one, I'm a Sagittarius, so only black and white exists in my world, and because I remember like, year one of the pandemic being like speaking to friends and being like, I think I was having a meeting with somebody and we were talking about like our New Year's resolutions. They're like, oh, I'm ungoaling. And so this idea of like Moss Girl Summer or like slow living or like the great, quiet quitting, all of these things that attribute like slowness. Okay, but then I just think it's like this performance of slowness, or quitting, or what are? Let me pull up my notes. What are all of the words?
Ooh, that's like what is quiet quitting?
What's quiet quitting? Oh, okay. So quiet quitting is like, people
like when you slowly bow out.
Yeah, like not doing your job, like being really passive. It's like, it would be very hard to quiet quit if you're a freelancer. I don't know how you would do that. But like, it's like the corporate, like, oh, I'm just going to do maybe the bare minimum, maybe. And so, people get really, older generations are very irritated by all of these things because, I think the younger generations are doing something really interesting around, work and what really happened with, the like kind of great exiting or whatever, like when people like quit. They're like, I'm done with hustle culture or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What really ends up happening is, okay, your bills now still need to be paid, or you've, exhausted whatever savings fund that you have
Yeah.
to be able to like, plant flowers or lay in the moss, which I want to be clear. I want for everybody in the world.
Yes.
But like, your rent needs to be paid or whatever. And so
Mm-hmm.
what really ends up happening after like this kind of like great exit of like corporate world was reshuffling of jobs, and I think we're kind of basically what my thinking is like, our pendulum swings. And I kind of have, my first question is around the privilege of who gets to stop working is the exact same of who gets the millennial pink girl boss life. It's the exact same. And I just think it's like really goofy to kid ourselves into stopping is the answer. One, and two, like resting is for all. I'm thinking of, I didn't include this in the notes, but I'm thinking of the nap ministry. Nap ministry.
Patricia. I think it's Trisha.
Trisha Hersey, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Trisha Hersey, yes, the nap ministry. Yeah, so I don't know, like that's my beef with this thing is like, going slowly, ease, cottagecore, the performance of the slow life is the same thing repackaged. And I don't think is actually anything. I don't know if it does much to actually revolt against capitalism the way that we think it might. Like, just because you're not sending an invoice doesn't mean you're not participating in the world.
It's like what we were saying with stay-at-home girlfriends, right? It's like it's especially not if you're also making it and putting it into a content and then putting it on the internet.
Yeah. Like we all want the soft life. Yeah. And then we are maybe, and that's just like the funny thing I think about it as well. Like the performance of these things, like it is still going online, and like maybe now you're getting a brand deal out of it. Like, and I think it's just another binary. Like hustle culture is one end of the pendulum. Like, soft life is the other. And I just like don't.
Yeah.
I just like don't think. I mean, no binary is productive, but like I don't know. What are we doing?
I think about like the options, and when we talk about like option with anything that we know is like harmful, like there seems to be these are the options: burn it down. Right? Swing the other way, totally like swing the other way, right? Or like do what we can with what we have while also trying to build towards like the future we can imagine of this system, right? These feel like the three options to me, burn it down is also has elements of harm right in it, like
this is crazy. You know what I just saw? Sorry to interrupt you. I saw women talking on the weekend. Did you see it? Have you seen it?
Why? Okay, I'm sorry.
But this is exactly what they talk about. Okay. No spoilies for women talking.
Yeah, no spoilies.
Have you seen it?
Okay. I haven't seen it yet. I've been in a place, Jacque and I really want to watch it together. And I've been in a place where I'm like, we got to watch this together. I have to find the right moment because of what it's all about. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You know what?
Like,
so we went in, I wasn't planning to go to the local theater that we try to go to. Has like weird times. And it was like, maybe not like the circumstance in which I would want to see it, but like knew I wanted. It was so good. It was very interesting. These like middle-aged white women came in chatting really, really loud late into the movie, and like phones were open and like giggling and stuff like that. And I could see the people around me getting prickly. Like, oh, we're going to have to say something to these women. But I was just like, I trust that Sarah Polley is going to make this movie so unbearably quiet and silent that they will be, and like within a minute, they shut up.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that, so again, no spoilers, this is like the first minute. I think this is like in the first.
That's part of Google the choices.
So their choice is, after all these horrible trigger warning for like women sexual abuse and violence. So if you need like hit 30 seconds on the pot for a couple of seconds, a bunch of women in this colony have been horribly raped and tranquilized and like horribly abused. And so the men are finally caught, and the women are given women are told, all of the men in the colony leave and are told, by the time we get back to go bail these men out, you have to forgive them. And so the women come with 3 options. Forgive them, and then they ask, like, can we forgive under duress? Stay and fight, and they kind of think like, well, our religion does not allow for harm, or leave, and like, what is the consequences of leaving again? So like, again, like, it's very funny that you can't come up with 3, and it's like, what is the least? And this Mennonite religion is about pacificity and stuff like that. And so it is a very, like, their moral code is something that I would very much subscribe to as well. And they try throughout like the film, try to tease apart these choices that they have. And do they even really have a choice? Which I think is the other thing when we think of choice.
Yep.
Anyway, that was a little tangent to interrupt your choices.
I don't think that anything also that we've said, you can't find on the internet before you watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we've really like spoiled anything.
It's like that's the, what do you call it? The log line. That's, if I were going to review it. Yeah. It's literally the first minute of the film.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm very interested to see that movie, especially because I've heard that they do a really, really good job of like, of the honesty and vulnerability of spirituality and religion, and like the importance of that, and being like very sacred with it, right? And because it's so easy to just go like, oh, this religion, right? Like, or like, oh, this like Mennonite, like, but you know what I mean? Like, this just shouldn't be whatever, but like, it's so much more complicated than that. Anyways, these feel like the choices, right?
Yes.
And what do we do with that? And who has a choice exactly? And this is something I thought about when I decided not to do my business anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking of you when I was writing these.
Oh yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
Like, and like, well, I've talked to you with you. So tell the listener. You tell the listener your story. I won't tell them your story.
You can tell them my story. I mean, whatever.
Well, I just won't put words in your mouth.
Whatever. Like, yeah, I decided to start a business during the pandemic. And I was coaching and I was creative directing and I was trying to still be an artist when theater was like not theater, right? You know, happening. And I realized like, you could do this. You know, I realized I could do this.
Yeah.
I could be a capitalist girl boss and I could be great at it.
You're just,
I could sacrifice
white women out here in these streets throwing everyone under the bus. Yeah, you could
exactly. I am a good white woman, right? Like I can be the best little worker, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, absolutely. And I can kill myself for it. Yeah. Right.
You can be the ultimate martyr for capitalism. You can lay yourself down on the altar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I realized really quickly, like, oh shit, like this isn't, you know, this is just where I was in my journey, right? And where I was in my path around these things. And this might seem really kind of elementary or obvious to folks who don't live in the specific place that I live within oppression as a
Mhm.
white woman, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But
Mhm.
like I was like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
not my jobs. It's
Yeah.
not the industry. It's
Mm-mm.
not blah, 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 right? Like
Oh,
it's me.
yeah.
and
Oy, oy, oy.
and that's really hard, right? And like and to act like these things don't touch every single part of us, right?
Mhm.
Is perpetuating what
Mhm.
they want, what you know, what we're supposed to do as
Yeah.
like as
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, you go
little white
here,
women.
you capitalist girl boss around town.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think there's only one possible outcome from that, right? Like there's just
Yeah.
misery and
Misery.
pain
Mhm.
and harm and
Yep.
like I mean I can think of a cajillion I mean, look what happened in June 2020 when all of these companies started posting, and I think actually Sophia Amoruso was the girl boss herself was a
Oh yeah.
I think fingers got pointed at her, but when these companies started posting their black squares, and
Mhm.
then Man Repeller is a good one actually. Did you
Mm.
ever watch the Man Repeller kind of downfall? I don't like
I
using the
did
word
not.
downfall because no. So
Gross.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, but when
I
these
mean, I know
companies
man
started
repeller, but I don't
posting,
know.
when they
Yeah.
started posting, oh, there's really good. Okay, I'm gonna link. My brain is a sieve, but there is a really good. It's behind a paywall now because this black woman who was getting horrible hate and spew thrown at her, but
Oh
she,
yeah, that you shared with me,
yeah,
that
it's really
essay.
good. Hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Mhm.
these companies, these like capitalist girl boss companies were post. I mean, this happened to fucking Starbucks as well. But I
Mhm.
think it's what's really interesting is the tension of like these
Oh yeah.
white women, CEOs posting their
Mhm.
black squares and their black
Mhm.
contractors and employees and
Mhm.
who anyone that intersects with them goes, well, you like, what the fuck are you on about? You ruined my fucking life.
Life. Yeah.
And like
Exactly.
made me, I'll link in, but
You've
Man Repeller was a very interesting one.
yeah, or uh Bando.
Oh
Um
yes.
mhm.
Yes, like so
Same
many of
thing.
these.
So, yeah, so uh, like this was the journey. And I don't even think I thought that, if I'm being honest, that was not part of my choice. If I'm being
Mhm.
honest, like in the present, I
Mhm.
thought it was about like God, I thought it was about the another thing that was served to me in a wrapped up in marketing, right? Which was
Mm.
like self-care
The
and
Instagram pink cursive font
yeah,
burnout. She's
exactly.
burnt out.
Burnout, self-care, um mm,
Mm.
even honestly, like even like healing, right?
Yes.
Like
Oh, healing.
healing, like
Yes.
um therapy, like intergenerational trauma, like all these
Yeah. Yeah.
things, you know what I mean? Like
I feel like a mean friend laughing at you because
no,
oh my gosh, my cat.
she
I
seems to be doing better. Look at
Yeah,
her.
no, she's what you know what she's doing right now? If listener, if you're not watching on YouTube, go just look at her YouTube for a second. My cat is sitting on a pile of sewing that has needles sticking in it, like pins in it. And I used to be so concerned about her walking around on them, but she's just a hell demon, and I think she gets like stronger because of them. So she's
Mhm.
laying on a bunch of needles right now. Um,
She won't take her meds.
no, she won't take her
She's
meds. She won't
trying
eat
to
her
like
fucking food.
lay on needles.
Yeah.
Like Angelica's ready to go.
Angelica's in her capitalist girl boss era is what she's in. But I was going to say, I feel it feels funny to kind of laugh about it because I remember, as your friend at the time being like, I am so proud of you. And I still
Mm,
am. I am so proud of you for taking that
mm,
time for
yeah.
yourself. But it is so funny. I mean, I guess this is just human beings learning and growing together and being like, wow,
Yeah.
Jacqueline's taking some time because Jacqueline is so burnt out. And like, I really hope she's okay. And I can't wait to see. I mean, we waited to create the pod. Like the pod was going to be, this is why we talk about, when was the pod created, because we spent that time together kind of as you were on a break, whatever the fuck we want to call it.
Yeah.
It's funny to look at that going, we're like, oh, you were teasing apart white supremacy inside of yourself. And you had the like space and time and privilege to be able to do that.
To be able to do that. 1,000%.
Are we actually okay? So this is so different now. Are we actually burnt out, or are we just is the like sword of oppression like hitting each other with it so fucking heavy that our arms get sore? And when we stop, like, can we like unknot all of the stuff that allows us to do that, or are we just going to do the exact? Are we just taking a break long enough to pick up the sword again? Like, what are we doing here? What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, I remember like feeling very much like, I mean, I still feel this way. I feel very much like, ew, like what the fuck, Jacqueline? Like, who are you? Who are you to like ask these questions? Who are you to like take that time? Who are you to like, you know what I mean? Like you're like it, like it is such a privileged thing, like, and
well, but here's the thing about privilege, right? Is like, and you and I know this, we all know this. It's only good if you do fucking do something with it. So fucking take your privilege and go and entangle the white supremacy inside yourself. Like, I don't care if you need to go to a cottage and do that, but go and fucking do it.
Yeah. And doing that is looking at all of these things that also I wanted to look at. I'm not saying that I wasn't exhausted. I was exhausted. I'm not saying that I didn't have intergenerational trauma to solve. I did have to, like, not solve because like none of it's ever going to be solved, but you know what I mean? Like,
what?
Like newsflash. But you know what I mean? Like, but wrapping it up in that and calling it a break, calling it rest, whatever, is not really actually looking at what it really is, right?
Yeah.
And people ask me, people are so annoying. Everyone wants a before and after story, right? Like, and I mean, people are annoying. I'm annoying too, but you know what I mean? Like, everyone wants like
people includes you and I.
People includes always in this pod.
People includes just us.
Yeah, no, actually, literally. Like, actually and literally, like, literally. When we say people,
it's just me and you.
Phoebe and Jacque. Like, we have no business including anyone else in anything.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this I feel like this I have to justify, I have to have a result, I have to have a before and after, I have to have a I have to have a findings, I have to have a whatever from this. And it's like white supremacy, you know what I mean? Like, this idea that I'm gonna like come to some kind of prescription, diagnose it, like that people can look at and go, oh, I want some of that, you know what I mean? That's all from this sense of thinking I have any control, like, you know what I mean? That's an unfleshed out thought, but like,
no. I what? Because, okay, so here's something I've been thinking about a lot when I talk about, and it's because we talk about these things, you and I, and in the other ways that we like kind of co-create with other people as well, of like, what is, white supremacy isn't just the KKK. White supremacy isn't just, these big black and white, bold, horrible crimes against humanity. What are, and so my question for you is like, what are some ways that you found inside of yourself, ways that you were acting that was you upholding white supremacy inside of yourself and against other people, and then against yourself as well?
Yeah. Great question.
Well, I think it's helpful for people to hear.
What does this actually mean?
Yeah. Like, if I'm going to say white supremacy.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
we actually what is that, you know? Because I think it's like, and I mean, I get the same way too, right? Whenever we hear these words, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so dramatic sounding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's okay. So first I want to say is like, that is white supremacy at work. The idea that we think it's dramatic sounding, right? Like the fact that like we're scared when we hear that word. So I think that's like, you know, the first thing I would say. Okay, so I had to do a lot of my own learning, right, around how white supremacy works in the spectrum, right? Because we're on a spectrum just like anything else, right? We have white supremacists, right? We have white supremacist groups. We have white nationalists. We have like, the kind of stuff you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the insidious, quiet, manipulative,
I think it's like
ways.
touching Black women's hair and like crying.
Yeah, like no, I wasn't even going there. That's somewhere. That is somewhere. I was saying on like an even more like internalized, right? Way. Like even like I was saying I was going the whole other opposite direction, right?
Yes.
So I did a lot of learning, and I learned that things like perfectionism.
Yes.
That things like urgency.
Yes.
That things like exceptionalism. That things like domination.
Well, and then, but then I think the important part of those things isn't just perfectionism. It's holding another person up against this thing. And then we do this in business, right? Or and this is where I think the capitalist girl boss intersects with these things, where it's like, you didn't get back to me at this time in this email. And and so now I'm going to penalize you for it. That is white supremacy in action, you know?
Yeah.
Same thing with perfection. This does not meet my standard of
exactly. Yes.
Of whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of that. It's interrogating. Exactly. It's interrogating what I would do to myself when I wasn't, and the things I would say to myself, and the ways I would harm and treat myself when I wasn't getting back in 24 hours, when I wasn't, you know what I mean? Even though.
Telling people what they're going to get. Here's what you get from me.
Here's what you get. And even though I had a little signature that said, I'll get back to you in 3 to 5 days, right? Even though I'm working to like dismantle urgency culture, even though I'm like blah, 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 right? Like I'm still
you posted your black square.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have it in your signature.
Exactly.
So if somebody
sitting in
asks
my bed.
you about it.
So someone asked me about it. So I'm like a good little white girl.
Yeah.
And and even though at night I'm saying to myself in my bed, oh my God, you didn't do this, or you are not good, worthy, smart, anything, power, like blah blah blah, like whatever the word, like because you didn't respond to this person in 24 hours or whatever that looks like, right? It's the difference between, this works in so many ways, right? In institutions, in like personally, right? Like it's, ooh, this is a good one. It's being mad. Oh, did you just say this? You might have just said this. Hold on. Pause.
I'll have it reflected back.
It might be what you just said. Being upset when I wanted something from someone and they had boundaries and they're unwilling to get it back to me in 48 hours or something, right? But then thinking I have the right to walk around and say, oh no, I'm not gonna do this, like, right? Or I don't work like that, right? Like it's like holding the standards, perpetuating the harm, like whatever that within the business place, right? Knowing that like this is for me, and it's not for you, like you're not allowed to live this way, you're not allowed to be this way, this is just for me, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think we do to each other.
Oh, that's what I mean when I say like this, like
that's
the
literally what I
sort
was
of
like,
oppression. Yeah.
yes,
Like
yeah.
what I think is, and this is just like a thing that we've taken as like an action we've taken as a company, which feels crazy to say that,
I know I
is
can't.
in
What?
our contracts, Jacqueline and I write, you know, Jacqueline and Phoebe are humans and are going to make mistakes, and we might like not get back to you on time, and like schedule is TBD by life events, menstrual cycles, tornadoes, and also you too, client. And I think that's like an important, you know, if I'm going to value co-creation, and if I'm gonna devalue, I don't know if this is like the right word for it, but if I'm not going to hold up white supremacy, then I need to hold up the opposite things, and co-creation is one of those things. Then that requires a folding in of the other, and not just a like centralization of self kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it's like, it's, you know, and I realized too, like, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this on the internet.
It's okay. I talked about my period blood on a wall last week, so
this has really been the theme. Really been the theme. And like, honestly, like, you know what? No, I need to talk about this on the internet because this is the work, right? Like, this is what it is. Like, you know, this sense of my superiority around my little step into this world, right? Like, I would yield that superiority in the way that I would run my business. And I would, and that was not okay. I would like say that I was creating spaces that weren't entirely that, you know what I mean? Like, because I can't do that. I cannot do that, like what I'm trying to do, if I have not interrogated and looked at these things in myself, if I haven't looked at defensiveness or perfectionism or urgency or these elements of white supremacy, you know what I mean? Like in myself, how can I expect to ask people artists to sit in a circle and do the same? And, you know, or binary thinking or really fucking caring how much money I make. Like if we're really taught, like, you know what I mean? This idea of like quantity over quality, right? Like what? Yeah. You know, that's scary stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, to like say to you're against something, and then in the same, like, to feel empowered. I mean, this is just like a little aside that like obviously requires an entire episode, but I think about a lot of like when people talk about like, oh, it feels, I know I don't need to put on makeup, but it feels good. You know, the thing, and I like, I'm literally wearing lipstick and eyebrow shit right now. Like, it's okay. I'm the same, but why does it feel good is always my question, right? It's like, why does it feel good to talk about these metrics? What, like, if we're like an anti-oppressive, if I'm using business because that's the world that we operate in, but in anything, like in creation and whatever, if we say we are like, you know, anti-oppression, and then at the same time feel excited about like, oh, I'm making a certain amount of money, or I feel, or I look a certain way, somebody complimented me about something. Do we have the, okay, and this is, I want to get into this, discipline, I don't know if that's the right word, practice, ability, skill, talent, whatever, to be able to interrogate that feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think what I did, right, was I said, oh shit. I like attempted to interrogate and run my business at the same time. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I was like, I can't live. It just felt, again, privileged. Yeah. Totally. Like, you know what I mean? To be able to be like, I'm going to take this space to interrogate. Like, I hear it. I hear but it's true. Yeah. Like, it's true. Ooh, like, I could have kept going and decided to build this stuff in, like learn, fall, but I didn't. I ran away. And I did what arguably is the easier thing. Like, and I gotta.
Well, okay, so it's funny that you bring that up because I'm thinking like,
And
you
also,
know,
I just want to point. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I just want to say that I'm able to talk about this in this way because I have done so much stuff,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like, I just want to say for like people listening to this, right? Like, who might be in whatever place they're at, like a lot of grace has been given
Yeah.
to me, which is why I'm able to
Yeah.
objectively kind
Yeah.
of talk about this, even though objectivity is also something we could talk about. But like I, I have
Well,
some
your
distance
willingness
now,
to
you
make
know.
mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's like the important part of um I mean any kind of I just think people's it's so funny. I see this around pronouns and specifically like people are like
Mm,
afraid to get things wrong. And it's
mm.
like we're just gonna. And I
Oh
know it's like
yeah.
very basic, but I think the exact same thing. It's just like instead of being like, well, this is me and I fuck up and I'm bad according to
Oh
the woke
yeah.
police or whatever. What
Right.
if and so I this is it's funny. This still works. This this segue or whatever. I don't know if I think what I think irritates me so much about, this soft life, the
Mm-hmm.
soft girl life, whatever we're gonna call it on the internet, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
Instagram cursive pink font like summation of this complex idea is this avoidance of work. And
Mm.
I mean that in the like very real pulling apart of like internal work,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I think because of capitalism, our avoidance to things like, and I'm going to use the word discipline again, even though I don't super love it. I think practice is a word I prefer to use.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, do we have the practice, the discipline, the whatever to be able to return to the work required of us in these? And maybe it's not a quieter moment. Like maybe it isn't you quitting your job. Like maybe it isn't all, maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
like restructuring your business. Maybe it's just one action that you
Mm-hmm.
take. Maybe it's it could be so many other things, but like, do we have like discipline is required in
To
certain settings, like to be able to
yeah.
hold your values up. I mean, I use in a very small way, I use discipline to write my fucking morning pages because I know
Yes.
that is good. Never on ever planet Earth ever once have I gotten up in the morning and been like, you know what I love to do is pick up my pen and write for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I hate it. It sucks. However, I
Mm-hmm.
know that if I do that, I will be a better
Mm-hmm.
person in the world. And so that is a place where discipline, where the work, where the practice, where the whatever the heck comes in and is serving to me. And I think our avoidance of these things to chalk them up in this binary is so
Yes.
unproductive
Yeah.
and just, again, perpetuates more harm because, well, I won't be working for a capitalist and therefore I just am all of a sudden absolved.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that process for me, I was like, oh, even staying truthful to this, even
Mm-hmm.
holding myself to even is do you know how difficult it was for me to not just go to work?
Oh
Like to
my
not just like
gosh. Yeah.
slip back into like it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
like
I mean,
there
I'm
was
like that on
just
any vacation. I say I want a vacation so fucking badly. I know I will get to any kind of beach and
God.
like open up my phone and like look
Yeah.
for a notification somewhere to
Right.
justify all of the things that we do to get there.
Yeah, and it's like the discipline of the discipline of like holding myself to the integrity or to the place that I know I want to be, right? Like to the
Mm-hmm.
place that I know where I want to operate from, whatever that is, right? Like it's like that took like uh um that was work
Yeah.
in and of itself, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like um if that makes sense, like it wasn't
Yeah.
like I think that's what we don't also when we talk about, and we got into this with Flory, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this soft culture, the mosses, the blood, like the lattes, the like all of
Mm-hmm.
this shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
like Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah.
Do we actually understand the pain in that? Do we understand what Simone says about the withdrawal of these
Yeah.
things? Do we
Yeah.
understand that actually this isn't like what that is extremely difficult and painful, and it's going to take a real true
Yeah.
restructuring, and like that's not cute,
No.
right?
It's
And,
like vomiting on the floor, crying alone ugly.
yes, it's ugly. And I think I wanted cute, and then I was really surprised when it was ugly. Like, that's a lie. I wanted cute. I really wanted cute. I knew it wasn't going to be cute. I really, really wanted cute, and I always tried to get to cute, and I you know what I mean? And there were cute times. There were some cute times, but like most of the time, it was terrible, right? And like avoiding these things, like this harm that is just avoiding the terror. It's avoiding the work of ourselves. It's just avoiding the terrible, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's funny because, like, you know, part of me always goes in these conversations like, okay, so how do we convince somebody to come over, you know? And like, do we, you know, well, not even convince, but like show someone that, I mean, it's so complicated, not so complicated, but, you know, as Jacqueline and I were having this conversation, I mean, I'm always having this conversation as a white woman. What is my job? What is not kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so maybe it's not convincing, but it's showing somebody that this work is not just pointing out when there are incongruencies in the world. So when somebody's saying something, and I see this a lot in customer service, when somebody says something to me, they want something from me, and I go, that's not for me to give you. Kind of thing.
Yep.
And pointing at an incongruency, like, oh, you know, you're coming to the wrong place for the wrong thing, kind of thing. And what you're doing right now is hitting me with like a white supremacist ideal that, you know, we claim to not say around here. But my thinking is like, you know, so to point out an incongruency and then to show somebody that it's worth it. And like, so part of my brain goes like, okay, so how do we do this? How do we convince someone? Do we, is part of it cute? You know, like how do we market this thing? But then at the same time is the like, you know, human life just not enough? Like, you know, like it's not, because we're okay with calling the cops on young Black boys. It's not enough. The human life, we're all so dehumanized to each other, and doubly, triply fold for Black folks. Just like for any POCs, people of the global majority as well, are just so fucking dehumanized that it's not enough. So in my brain, I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out what the podcast is what I'm trying to do. But there is no fucking cute answer.
No.
And there is no way I can tell somebody it's worth it enough because of all of those things, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like unless you have any other points to make about this question, to answer this question, I feel like this is a beautiful segue to the work we're trying to do.
Yes, wow. Look at you.
In this, you know, yeah, because here we go.
Well, because, you know, you're 100% right, because the answer is I don't know yet. However, I do feel like we could know if we explore together, and this is exactly what you and I are trying to do.
Yep.
I want to fly into a black hole right now.
Me too. It is what we're trying to do together.
Yeah.
I think it is what we're trying to do right now on this podcast, which is what you just said. That's the podcast.
Yes.
You know, there is no, like you've been saying on the internet lately, there is no spreadsheet cut and paste template that we can follow for these things, right? Like there is no this equation or formula is going to
yes.
get you to be to the place that you want to be of interrogating me.
Yes, you're
blah,
so
blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah.
Yes, yes,
There is
yes.
not. There is not.
And that's true
And-
of any cut and paste formula I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
When on ever, and I think I've said this on many episodes, has a XYZ equals ever worked for anyone? The dismissal of many a variable is not there.
Yeah.
Or is there?
Yeah. I think that's what we're trying to do in the sense of business, creativity.
Yep.
Well,
and I think actually, okay, to back up a little bit, that is what creativity is.
Yes.
And
exactly.
we cannot.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
We cannot expect all of these things. We cannot expect liberation. We cannot expect actions and results. I don't want, and I'm just going to use black and whites again because I think it's helpful to think of this way. I don't want, Black women to not feel welcome in my yoga class. So I'm going to post the black squares. I feel like we're the black square. Like, what is another? I'm just gonna post a GoFundMe or something like that, but then still uphold, urgency and perfection inside of my own business in the same time. Or I want I want the watercolor. So I am going to use a formula to get there. No, that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
And so, it's like we cannot expect watercolor results from like spreadsheet actions is like the thing I constantly say over and over again. So,
which is a form and a language of saying what we're saying, right? Like there are tools for investigating, interrogating, healing, whatever we're calling it, white supremacy, looking at the systems of oppression, right? There are tools, but there is not a formula. There's not a freaking prescription. And if you're looking for that, you are perpetuating white supremacy. Like if you're looking for that, if you're wanting that, if you're wanting to be saved, if you're wanting to be like, then you are upholding the same thing. And I think that people don't want to hear that.
No.
At least that's been our experience as we have.
Well, I don't think it's people don't want to hear it. I just think it takes a minute to digest that information to be able to hear it. So what Jacque and I have been doing is in a holistic, in a like zoomed out sense is, creative direction and strategy for individuals, teams, organizations. But that really brings the like 3D artist thinking, to what could be a marketing strategy, to what could be a launch, to what could be and like always it could be a photo shoot, an event, a logo, like so many different things, but bringing this thinking, this, expansive galaxy watercolor, really severely
severely
rejection of like severe. It's radical. It's fucking radical. And it's a definition I really love of radical is like to the root, really paying attention to like what is it that we're investigating and doing in the world. And coming in and co-creating with you, teams, organizations, etc., to like really embrace, I don't know, like the artist in us all, the like beyond binary in us all, the like alien, the whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we are realizing, even I want to be really clear about something. Like even within working with us in this process, like we're not going to like help you solve your issues with white
No.
supremacy.
No.
And not even solve your issues. But what we are going to do is go, hey, here are questions, tools, resources, another way of maybe considering, thinking, whatever, right?
Well, my hope always is too that it gives people the space, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, in support
space.
Yeah.
Space of where you're at in your journey to that, right? Like, and, you know, I think often what I think the thing we're trying to help people do too is there's quite a disconnection. Like if you are someone who's like, I'm doing radical shit, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm doing radical shit in my business. I'm a radical artist. I'm looking at all these things. I'm blah, 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 blah. But I'm not, but like the communication side of it or the storytelling component or the thing people are seeing about me is not matching that. And like what is like making that gap smaller?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like introducing things to like help that process.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, right? Because often I think like we do what I did is we go like, oh, well, I just can't do this right now. I got to go over here. I got to shut this down and go over here. And I got to be like in progress, in messy progress over here, away from the camera, away from the social media, away from the thing. No, so nobody can see me in my messy progress because I can't be a leader if I'm in messy progress because I can't be, you know what I mean? Like all of these things. And we're saying, no, you can.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
No. Actually, that's another tool to solve these things. Like, you know what I mean? Not solve, but like to heal these things. Like, no. Like, and that is where our like entry point thing is, I think, of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
This is a rant, but you know what I mean?
No, I think that's perfect. We'll leave more info in the description down below, but Jacque and I are accepting clients for May 2020. What year is it? Whatever this year is. For May of this year.
May 2023.
Or whenever you're listening.
Yes.
For May 2023. This has been like an experiment that we started running, just really started in January. We booked up really quick. It's been really exciting to see. And it's been really exciting to see, like what – not just like outcomes, because I think outcome is like shocking. I'm going to call it white supremacy. Like I think an outcome or a desired outcome or trying to control an outcome is all of these systems behavior. It's what they want from it to quantify something. Right.
Yeah.
But it's been really exciting to work alongside people who are so trusting of this wackadoodle process and unfolding, and then to see them find their own process and to see them find their own unfolding. And then the commitment, I will say this, everyone's been like, okay, I'm doing it. Yeah. Like I've never, I'm used to a resounding fuck yes. And everyone's like, okay, yeah. Because it is scary and it does feel like a dive off of the deep end. But fuck, it's been cool. It's been really fun. It's been really cool. Fun.
I would say, I mean, that is true. Like we are like jumping into the unknown together. There are certain people who are more comfortable with jumping into the unknown than others. Yes. And people who are maybe farther along in their journey in the relationship to these things are more okay with jumping into the unknown. Yeah.
If you're cool, if you're an unknown swimmer, you're like, hell yeah. If you're a watercolor painter, hell yeah. But I think if you're somebody who's wanting watercolor and still only getting like this very rigid shit, then it's going to feel weird and like, cool, good, great. I love it. I love weird. Let's feel weird together.
Because discomfort and getting okay with discomfort is actively dismantling white supremacy.
Yes. Well, this episode, this is an episode. I don't think I wrote white supremacy in our notes, but like, when are we not going to? No, that's not true. It's it's all over this page. I can't go anywhere.
Nope.
Ay,
You're
ay,
not
ay.
allowed out of the house.
I do have a question. Not like a nice little bow to wrap it up
Okay.
with, but like a question for the listeners. And maybe you answer this, maybe you never do. But my question is always, what can you do within your agency? What actions can you take within your agency? If we all exist at some kind of choice and have some kind of agency, and that's not true of every person. But my guess is if you have headphones and you're driving in your car, you have the device, that you have agency in your world, in your life.
If you're listening to this right now, currently, you have agency.
Yes. And as my friend Robin LaCombra says, if you're alive, you're a leader. And so what agency do you have to craft change? Because you do. You have some, but it's about finding that for ourselves and being of service to each other. Okay. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Follow this chaos wherever you get your podcasts.
Our artwork is by Simon Peng. Do You Ever Feel Like is produced by Jacqueline Wills
and Phoebe Taylor. You can follow us on Instagram at doyoueverpod.
You can write to us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com. Okay, bye!